welcome to Soul and Sense. Welcome, Bakul, Rajput ji. It's an honor to have you here on the show today on Soul and Sense. Uh, it's I've met you 1 or 2 times, and I think spiritually I'm connecting with you on a number of aspects. And I thought you would be one of the most fantastic speakers that I can speak to for my audiences for Soul and Sense. Um, you hail from a small town in India, and you are an entrepreneur, you're an avid reader. I see you as a spiritual explorer, you're a father, and you are the owner of the Vedic Dham in Rishikesh. Uh, to sum it all, this is some brilliant journeys that you've had, and we're today hoping to be able to explore some of those journeys with you.
Thank you, Shaalin ji, for inviting me on your show. And I must say that you are doing a great effort in upliftment of the human consciousness. And as much as I have known you, all the work that you've been doing for the entire mind, body, and soul is, I fall short of words on this front.
I'm very thankful to you. And less said about me, more said about you and your journeys is, I think, what we would like to talk about. So I'd like to begin this conversation very quickly. Since you and I have tried to connect on a number of aspects, I would like you to be able to explain the biggest challenge or how best to describe today's conversation to our listeners.
I think today's discussion about spirituality, religious beliefs, and how I think one travels his journey from, we all begin our journey with religious practices. And over a period of time, we see people being spiritual in nature. And then how you come back to the religious practices again.
Cycle.
It's a complete cycle, and I think how your life experiences takes you in this path. And similarly, I think we all have different experiences, but on a collective scale, I think it is more or less the same. So when we talk about each other's experiences, it is moreover uh, when we talk to masters and hear masters speaking on their spiritual journeys, reading about them, we find that their experiences might be different. But I think the goal is the same. And ultimately, the goal of spirituality or any practice is to evolve as a human consciousness.
And I want to sort of delve into some early conversations with first making our audiences understand who am I speaking to. Bakul, uh, from whatever little I know, he's read up on about 22 parasciences. Am I correct? Being an avid reader, he has knowledge across the board. He has done hours and months of meditation and jap. He has been a very staunch Shiv Bhakt. He has been practicing certain techniques that have worked for him, and yet he lives a simple life, like a father, like any of us, being a part of this material world that we are all challenged with. And that's where I need to get the conversation to understanding how some of our audiences also would be able to relate to some of these scenarios. So let's begin, Bakulji, with the first question that I had in mind. When did you first realize as a child that you had something going on that was either religious, spiritual, or some feeling of being undifferent?
You know, I go back to times when I grew big, when I was in my teens. My father used to tell people about and how your family discussions, what you've been doing in your childhood. So I think when I was 6 or 7 years of age, I used to look at the stars and I wrote a small article, and my father used to read out that article to all of us.
Wow.
And it stated that, and that is when I discovered that I can write a little bit more also. So it stated that there is life beyond the sky. And in one of the paragraphs that I had written is that if two cells are born at the same time, so there is one more Bakul who's watching the stars at this moment in time in another galaxy. So there is life happening at the same time, at the same moment, if the evolution process has begun at the same time.
Am I correct? You just said that at the age of 7
7, yes.
is approximately when you were trying to write concepts like this.
Yes, that was the time when I was thinking that there is life beyond the sky and how the life would be. And my mind has always been very logical. I wanted a logical reasoning to what is going in my mind. And I think that was the early beginning of my journey.
Amazing, amazing. And then how did it proceed? Did you get a feeling that was your father religious? Was there somebody in the house who brought you into this dimension of religion or spirituality?
So my father was not a spiritual or a religious person. He was like more or less of an atheist, and he lived his life very peacefully. And but something in me wanted to explore religions. So one fine day I tell him that I want to learn to read and write Urdu, and he says, okay. So there is somebody who comes to teach me, and then I go to Gurudwara to learn to write Punjabi. So the whole idea was me to explore different belief systems. And then eventually when I grew up, we all follow the same teen process. But somewhere around 2021, I started reading a lot about religions. And I think I read almost all the religions in the world. And then, the more you dive deep, the more you are bound to questions. And
Yes.
that is how life proceeds.
Correct?
And one fine day, I'm just narrating a small example. I read the Bible and the life history of Jesus Christ. And I went to one of the learned person and I asked him that Jesus was crucified on a cross. And so that was a question in my mind. So I told him that when Jesus was crucified on a cross, and it has stains of his blood and sweat, that's what is written in the books. And so that becomes a weapon by which Jesus loses his life.
Yes.
So why do Christianity on a collective scale pray the cross, and why is cross a holy symbol? So that was a question. So certain questions which I wanted an answer, and that is when you start reading.
Curiosity.
Curiosity, and I over a period of time I found the answer to it. And so that is how the journey of life into digging deeper into reasons of why any practices is taken place. Like, why do we touch the feet? Why do elders bless us on the head? And why is tilak here? And all these questions, I think, which and I always use the word seeker. So, and somebody beautifully said that India is a land of seekers.
Correct.
And we are all seeking something.
Seeking knowledge.
Knowledge,
Seeking wisdom.
seeking answers, seeking everything. So that whole process of seeking makes you go through this path of religious and spiritual practices.
So in this journey of yours, I understand that you may have started very meticulously studying some of the practices that are followed in order to be able to pray to the gods, in order to reach a sense of attainment. And there is a very clear difference between religion, practices, and then perhaps evolving into spirituality or other areas. And this is my conversation. I wanted to sort of start earlier on, first understanding, have you done any religious practices?
Yes.
Okay.
So, one fine day when you have answers on what is going on in the process of life, and sort of all types of practices. So, one of the, I think, learned men I met in my early 20s, he told me that there might be different paths to reaching the same God,
Correct.
but you have to take one path. And for me, I was a born Hindu, and I took up Hinduism as a part of my religious practices. And I wanted to relate to a lot of gods, and I started studying the Das avatars of Vishnu, and I studied Shaivism, Shaktism, and all the different branches of what Hinduism offers to us. So some things I really loved about Shiva, and then I started getting into practicing on, uh, like I read that Ravan wrote Shiv Tandav,
Hmm.
and so I wanted to
Shivkandav Stotra.
Shiv Tandav Stotram.
Ah.
Ravan wrote it, and Shiva was so pleased that he performed the Tandav. And then in one of the books I read that Shiv Tandav is the most, according to London School of Music, Shiv Tandav is the most rhythmic poem
Ah.
of all times, wherein at that time when it was written, there was not even a single veena or a chord to give tuning to the whole process. So I was really amazed by that fact.
You recite it once in your style, the way you would recite it.
Yeah, so I wanted to actually learn it, and somebody told me that if you can recite Shiv Tandav in one breath, in a single breath, all the 15 shlokas, you would get mukti. And then began my process of reciting the Shiv Tandav. Jatatavi galat jalal prabhav upavitastale gale vilam vilambitam bhujang tund malika. Damat 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 damam ninadamat damarvayam chakara chandra tandavam tanottuna shiva shivam. Jata bhujang pindala swarastrana nipid. So it goes on in the process, and I started.
It gives me goosebumps every time I hear it.
Yeah, but in this whole process, I felt somewhere that, and I wanted to learn the meanings of it also.
Hmm.
So my more focus when I learn some practice, it's not only just mugging or learning it up. I want to know deeper, deeper. So when I read the Shiv Tandav, I started reading the meanings of it. Jatatavi galat jalal prabhav vitastale means जिनकी जटाओं से गंगा का जल निकलता है और वो पूरे स्थल को प्रभावित करता है. So I wanted to write something for Shiva, which describes Shiva.
Wow.
And this is the incident I'm
A
sharing
stotra,
it.
a mantra.
I would not classify it into either of it, but what I wrote that time, I met a friend of mine and I wanted Sanskrit words, and I started taking out words
That's
which
the
could.
energy and the inspiration
Yeah.
you had.
So,
So what was it?
so it was Tripundadhari, He Tripurari, Trikaladarshi, Trishuladhari. Tripundadhari, He Tripurari, Trikaladarshi, Trishuladhari, Trilok Gauri, Sirchandra Mauri, Trinetra Pralay, Tritapahari. अर्थात जिसके मस्तक में त्रिपुंड है, मध्य में त्रिनेत्र, और जो त्रिशूल सदैव अपने साथ रखते हैं, और गौरी माँ पार्वती जिनकी अर्धांगिनी है, और जिनके सर पर मुकुट के स्थान पर चंद्रमा है, और जो जग के सभी ताप अर्थात विष और पाप को हर लेते हैं, वही शिव हैं, शिव हैं, शिव हैं. सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम अर्थात सत्य ही शिव है, शिव ही सुंदर है. सो
Amazing. I am feeling the energy levels vibrating a little differently for me.
जिनकी जटा में जीवन रूपी गंगा है, नीलकंठ औघड़ भगवान शिव जन और जन कल्याण के लिए विधाता स्वरूप हैं, जो भक्तों की परिकाष्ठा को देखते हुए एक और भक्त कन्नब द्वारा चढ़ाए गए अभोग्य पदार्थ को भी ग्रहण कर लेते हैं, और दूसरी ओर सर्वशक्तिशाली रावण का भी निमंत्रण अस्वीकार कर देते हैं. So then I read the story of Kannab, what he offered Shiva, and how Ravan was so powerful, and how he could not take Shiva. So these stories become inspirational on your path of life.
And these are challenges all of us are facing in the material world that we are living. The next question that I had in my mind when I'm hearing this kind of energy coming out is, all of us have to live in this material world the way we are. It is Kalyug. How do I distinguish religion being part of my journey, of being part of who I am, and yet not being affected by this material world and Maya? They say Maya is the world that we are living in. Materialism is where everything is revolving around. But deep down, I'm still spiritual. Deep down, I still want to be connected to religion. What is your understanding around this concept? Are we all struggling because we are all living in the same material world? So we are on the same plane.
See, the best statement to describe this is that, we all think that we are physical beings who have spiritual experiences,
Correct.
but it is the other way around. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Oh,
S- We are all,
the other way around.
it's the other way around. We are spiritual beings. And the moment one is that you read about it, and one is deep down you know about it. And once that distinguish, your mind is able to distinguish that thought or probably identify that idea that we are spiritual beings and we are just having this as an experience. Something like when we see Ram Leela, uh, Rama is given the throne. He sits, he wears the crown. And some soldier is given a sword or a bhala to stand there with. And when the show ends, they both remove their costumes and they both go home on the same bicycle. So eventually, this is just a stage. We've been given a certain position, a certain place, and we have to do that place, position, work with righteousness and put in and deliver the best that we can. So that is the idea of how to
Balance
leave your
between the material world as well as the spiritual
spiritual
world. Bakulji, in today's time, with the Ayodhya Mandir coming and Jap being an important aspect of Kalyug, uh, the name Ram is a very important, Ram Nam is a very important aspect. And I also see you have a tattoo of Ram on your head. So can you explain why, in your understanding, what is the Ram Nam? ये जप क्या है?
when we say Ram Ram, we say it twice. And so we all know that it is all frequency. So when I speak to a numerologist, once I met a numerologist, he told me everything is a number. And it is such a beautiful cosmic web that when you write the word Ram Ram, it turns out to be 108. So, the whole logic why 108 is a significant number in Hinduism is also explainable. And Ram Ram is so close to the word Om. So once you keep reciting the word Ram, 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 it turns out that your frequency, see, as per the Hindu text or the Hindi alphabets,
Yes.
they are all sounds.
Correct.
And any sound which is arranged to increase the resonance of the human consciousness becomes a mantra.
Correct.
So when you align a lot of Hindi or Sanskrit words which raises the human frequency or the resonance of the human body or the human consciousness, it becomes a mantra.
Correct.
So Ram Ram is the most closest to the word Om. Ram, 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 Ram. And Om is the sound of the universe. And we are all a part of this universe. So, when NASA also found out the sound of universe,
Correct.
it
And
was
frequencies.
somewhere similar to O. And I think when all the masters of all the beliefs heard this sound in their deepest state of meditation, when you go into a deep transcendental state of meditativeness, you hear sounds. And when you want to narrate and simplify and explain these sounds, you give them your form.
So this
So-
is a form of that sound and energy.
Yeah.
And Ram Nam or Ram Ram, the way it is recited, allows you to get closer to that sound and frequency.
Found in that frequency of the cosmic frequency for the human consciousness upliftment.
No, I think this is a very important aspect for a lot of people around the world to understand the importance of Jap and the word Ram Nam, Ram Ram. That's very interesting. Now, Bakulji, I'd like to come back to some of the conversations that we were making earlier on about this transition journey of yours. I believe in our conversations I had a hint that you've had one or two instances of out of body experiences. Was there any turning point caused because of any of these? And what happened? What was your understanding around those incidences?
So, I was following the path of religious practices.
Correct.
That was my life. And, reciting the Hanuman Chalisa, Shiv Tandav on a daily basis was something that I was doing for my upliftment of and finding answers.
Correct.
And one fine day, over a process, I meet a tantric who tells me a lot of things like what is my daughter wearing in Bombay, and just by closing his eyes. And when I cross check, it turns out to be a reality in Kamakhya. And this makes me wanting to know how he could do this process. How? Just by closing his eyes, he says, your daughter is wearing a red frock and it is so pretty, or statement like these. And I asked him, Baba, क्या मैं ये कभी कर पाऊंगा? And he said, तेरे में तरंग है, थोड़ी देर ध्यान कर, तू पहुंच जाएगा. I did not really, till that point in time in my life, know what dhyan is.
Boom.
That was a passing moment. I came back and my life was taking me through a course. And
so, but then you would have had some family pressures as well, because today, as any of us that are out, who feel that they would like to be a little more spiritual, have some practices, a tika is looked at that you're a pandit, you're trying to display something, you have something that you want to showcase. That is not the essence of the individual. Your wife may question, your husband, your family may question, your husbands may question, depending on which person is doing any religious practices. Did you face any certain challenges, and how do we deal with challenges in today's time?
See, rightly said, first is the tika. So, tika is scientifically put for us to have a continuous reminder that there is some form of concentrated energy between the two eyes, which people call it the third eye, but there is a concentrated form of energy which we need to focus on. So that is the tika. And earlier when people saw it, it was relating yourself to a particular belief system. Some people take pride in putting the tika every day. So it's an individual belief. But as a family man, when you start your practices, the challenge you start facing is when you are doing a religious practice, you are resonating with your family because they've been seeing this all their life, in all the pujas, Diwali. So they're very happy about it, that my person, my husband, or he's a family man. But the moment you start practicing something which they do not understand, that makes you walk on a separate path. And they want you to walk on the right path. But what is right for them might not be right for you at that point in time.
I think we're having some amazing conversations here. In order to proceed with some of the aspects that are still as questions in my mind, we last talked about some elements that you were explaining, like a tika, which symbolize the fact that it's our belief system that there is some alternative power, there is some focus, there is some energy that we would like to continue to focus on and concentrate on. So one of the questions that was coming in my mind was that, okay, as we are progressing from religion, we're also progressing to understand meditation or dhyan, as you have also put it. What was that journey? And how did you come about that journey?
So, dhyan or meditation, I think it happened to me. It was not planned. Once I was sitting in a bathtub in Manali and I just closed my eyes, and I think I was gone for 6.5 hours.
Gone meaning you
Gone
were...
means I think that time had lapsed. I was just sitting there, and on an incident when my daughter knocked the door, and refused to go unless I open it. I just counted 3, 2, 1 and I opened my eyes. और मेरे पूरे हाथ गल गए थे पानी में.
Yeah, because that many hours in
हाँ,
the
because
water.
I was half in the water, and
And what happened in those 6 hours?
the only thing that I can remember is that I could see my family's discussion in the other room. I could see my daughter, and I could see myself on a top view.
Wow.
And I think that was the first meditation experience or outer body or whatever you call it. But that was my first accidental experience. But the only thing that changed within me was that I enjoyed it so much. Means the kind of
Because the
बोलते हैं ना
state of
रोम
happiness
रोम
was-
में there's a feeling of joy, ecstasy, and it is beyond words. You can't just express it. And um, my and the night I ordered food, my liking towards a lot of things had changed.
Wow.
And that night I got up, I remember, and I again closed my eyes. And I remembered that saint who could see from, and I started practicing that. And so it was a whole journey of uh, being into a state of meditativeness. So I personally believe, and I always see there are ads that there are meditation school. And you know, when you read the Oxford meaning of meditation, it says that to do nothing. So
Do nothing.
to do nothing is meditation. So how can you do nothing? You have to do something.
Correct.
You can never do nothing.
How do you do nothing?
How do you do nothing? So what the process tells you of people who teach you meditation is that first you close your eyes, you watch your body, and body starts itching, then it calms down, you watch your thoughts. So that process is basically mindfulness. You are being more aware. You are concentrating your awareness, and you are being more mindful to the process of life. And the more you walk on this path of being mindfulness, meditation happens to you.
Oh, so you begin with mindfulness to mature to meditation.
So when will meditativeness or meditation happen to you is not certain. Like meditation is like love. You can be a nice person, you can mingle with people, but when love will happen to you, it's not in your control. So you begin your journey with mindfulness and you mature into meditativeness. So meditativeness is a state of existence.
And are there any stages that people can tell? For instance, if I'm meditating a few minutes a day, or I'm meditating sometime during a day, some periodic, what can I practically do in this world at this point in time? And how do I know I'm actually meditating? Because sometimes when I meditate, I could have a lot of thoughts running. And sometimes, as men generally can, we feel blank, well, completely blank. And the spouse will ask, or somebody will ask, what were you thinking? Nothing. I'm not thinking anything. It's a lot of advantages, but I'm unable to understand what is that state I should be recognizing.
If you broadly classify the human consciousness, basically, or the existence of a human being, I would say it is in 4 stages. One is the physical, the second is the mental, third is the emotional, and fourth is the spiritual self.
Correct.
So now if we graph it or probably try to better understand it in the process of attaining meditativeness through mindfulness, the first stage that comes to you is when you close your eyes, your body starts itching.
Yes.
Yeah. There is nothing, a part of you that you did not realize that this part existed, you'll start itching everywhere. Why? Because the moment the awareness wants to concentrate at a particular point, the body wants to resist because it's the outermost covering. But there will come a time over a period of time,
With
period of
discipline.
practice and discipline, that this will disappear. the moment you close your eyes, your body will not demand anything or want to divert. But the second stage comes is the mental. Your mind will give thoughts. So then they say that you should watch your thoughts like the gatekeeper or the watchman watches people passing by.
Correct.
So
You
you
allow the
just
thoughts to come and go, come and go.
come and go. You distinguish yourself from the thoughts. So you have a third person perspective of your own thoughts. So you're just watching that, okay, this is happening in the thought process.
Yeah, because you'll hear a sound, you'll have a thought. You'll be able to control your physical state to a certain extent, but you're still doing something in all of this. You've not yet reached a meditation.
No, meditativeness has not come in. So what you do is when a thought comes in, you don't force yourself, oh, I will not think this. You are putting in the effort.
Yeah.
So technically, meditativeness is a effortless effort. It's a state of existence.
Correct.
Like you to do love, to love somebody, you don't put in the effort. It is a very natural, effortless effort. There is some effort, but it is effortless.
Yeah.
So similarly, your mind starts giving you the thoughts. And when you start watching your thoughts, you start distinguishing yourself from the thoughts. You are no longer that thought. You are a third person who's watching those thoughts passing by. Like the gatekeeper is watching people passing by. He's not involved in their journeys of life. He's just sitting. Oh, come, go. So the moment that distinguishedness is created, the thoughts disappear. So your second stage is
that.
that.
And what happens in the third stage?
So the third stage is the emotional body. Suddenly your body is stable. So bolte hain, body is stable, mind is also stable. In another 3, 4, 5 minutes, now comes the emotion. So emotions are basically settled emotions. So they say that emotions are samskar. So now to understand that, what is a samskar? So you see a soldier will kill somebody and take a life of the other person on the other field, and a terrorist also kills people. What is the difference? They both are doing the same act, but one is appreciated and other is not. Because an action plus the emotion of a soldier is to protect, and the emotion of a terrorist is to hurt. So action plus emotion becomes a samskar, which is a karma. And now this samskar goes and settles on your chit. Chit is the hard disk.
The soul's hard disk.
The soul's, the consciousness hard disk.
Okay.
So samskar rahit chit मोक्ष को प्राप्त होता है.
So you should be without
Any
such
samskar.
samskar as a consciousness to be moksha.
Moksha, to reach moksha. I'll give you a small example. I was in Haridwar. I went for the Ganga Aarti, and I saw a saint around 6 feet tall, must be good looking and with beard, white beard, with locks, and standing with his bowl. And I went to touch his feet. Somehow I had that connection. He said, I said, क्यों बाबा? Because somebody stopping. He said, मुझे तेरे साथ कर्म नहीं बांधने. तू पैर पड़ेगा, मैं आशीर्वाद दूंगा, कर्म बन जाएगा.
कर्म बंध जाएगा तो मुझे.
And again I have to dissolve that karma. So the give and take process is also a samskar. Because there is an action happening with an emotion.
Correct.
So to attain a samskar rahit chit is the ultimate aim of a human consciousness. So there is a process of dissolving the samskars. So third, in your journey of meditation or mindfulness is the emotions that comes out. They are the samskars from all your lives.
All the past lives that soul has been storing in the hard disk.
So you have visions, you see things, you see people, and that is when we advise you, you make a journal, you resolve, you read, you get answers from the people who have already walked that path. That's why this is happening to me. Unless you get those answers, unless you study 2 plus 1 is 3, you should not go into 2 into 2 is 4. So it is a process. And suddenly a time will come that those emotions will also disappear. Then comes the spiritual self. You will somewhere know that there is somebody who is doing the effort. And this process is an effortless effort. So to recognize the doer and for the doer to get distinguished from the doing is the last step of dissolving into Brahman, which is connecting with the divine. So they say पहले शरीर सदता है, फिर विचार सदते हैं, फिर भाव सदते हैं, फिर साधक सदता है, फिर समाधि लगती है. So samadhi is an attainment of a state which is meditativeness, and the journey is mindfulness.
Beautifully explained. Final question around this revolves around when we meditate in today's time, in the material world, in the way we are living, we are being judged very differently. And this is a fact. If I meditate for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if I prioritize that, or if someone believes that you are spending time meditating, it's just, for me, I understand spirituality is an individual journey. This is how you have also explained it during that process. How do you deal with it? So you have done meditation for hours as well. What was going on? And what do you think? Because on one side, you want to get away from all of this. You want to be yourself. That's the spiritual journey. But on the other side, I still live in this world. I still have to get up and go home. I still have to do my task. How do you explain this?
See, when this whole process of life was happening to me, Gautam Buddha is an inspiration in itself. He's, when you study his life journey and he's wanting to know himself, he leaves his home in the night, and so somewhere, but then as a family man or as a common man, you have to perform certain duties, and they are your karmas that you need to do in this life. There is no running away. People who think that going into the Himalayas will get them freed from their duties, no. You have to be a man and then be spiritual. You have to keep doing your duties and be spiritual at the same time. But to better, there are times in life when this spiritual journey is evolving. You need to understand that when a child gives his exam, he closes his room because he needs his space to study.
Correct.
So that is your examination period. So that is the time you take your time off. You evolve and then you celebrate. Evolution is important for celebration. And life is celebratory. It is to be celebrated.
Has to be celebrated. You have to live it.
Live it.
Yeah.
What you are going to carry is the experience.
Correct.
It is
none of the material world I'm going to carry.
Nobody is going to take from this, and nobody has ever created or taken from here.
Yeah, so I somewhere read very beautifully, it said, we came naked, we're going to go naked. So at the end of the day, once I'm burned to ashes, nothing of this material world that I'm going to carry with me.
100%.
Which is my journey. It is not going to be my wife there, my children there, my parents there, or anybody who's holding my hand. So I have to walk that path. And I like the way you've described that we have to first be a man, face the life and the karma that we have to, before we start transcending to becoming more spiritual. A very related question that I know you studied Kundlis also. Kundlis are a very interesting aspect where people are in doubt. People refer to an astrologer. Uh, how many Kundlis are there, or what is the aspect of Kundlis that you should be looking at?
See, to be honest, astrology is one of the most beautiful creations of the Sanatan philosophy. Astrology as a science, if you see, there are 12 houses, there are 9 planets, there is a interrelation between those planets, there is a owner of each house, the owner is placed into a certain position, there are 27 nakshatras, so all of this, the permutation, combination, and understanding the dasha, the time. So basically, astrology is a screenshot of the sky at the time of your birth. So the moment you are born at a particular place in time, at that point in time, what are the planets affecting you is your Lagna Kundli. So like how dreams come to us, we dream, it is a projection of the human mind. Probably our current life may be a projection of the celestial bodies. So that is why they say whatever has to happen will happen in this process of life. And we have seen over a period of time people predicting, people like Nostradamus 500 years ago said 2 flying birds will hit the man-made mountains in the new city. It happened.
Correct.
It came out to be true. And how can somebody 500 years ago predict what is going to happen? So probably we are also a mere projection. But when you see astrology, during the time this science was written, it is a predictive science. I have seen how it has been used, misused, misinterpreted by a lot of aspects of life. But for my personal understanding and belief, that nothing can be changed. It can be calmed by mantras, japs. It helps you to raise your frequency for you to have a better strength
To
to
with
deal with that particular situation.
Correct.
So, during the time astrology was written, there is a very beautiful example that Rahu, when it is in the 12th house, people leave their homes or their birthplace.
Okay.
So in ancient times, when they used to see their natal chart, they used to see, oh, Rahu is in the 12th house. The family used to start crying. Oh,
Because
my
the
son is
child
going to
will
go
be-
away.
Yeah.
And once somebody leaves his place of birth, he never comes back. But the times have changed. In the Kali Yuga, people want to know whether I will have a house in the foreign land, whether I will travel to foreign destinations.
The perspective of Rahu has changed.
The perspective of Rahu has changed. Everybody wants Sone ki Lanka, but nobody wants Ram ka Vanvas. Because nobody wants to go on an exile by obeying their parents, but everybody wants a house of gold. So the the times have changed. And the interpretations have also started to change. So astrology is a beautiful world. And the more you dive deeper, the more astonished you will be. What a beautiful creation of humanity and humankind.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Thank you. I think, Bakulji, I'm going to try and summarize some of the very, very interesting conversations we've had today. Obviously, we've dwelled in the early parts of your journey that have brought you to transform yourself. We talked about the religion elements of it. We talked about mindfulness. We talked about meditation and mantras. We talked about the kundli. There's so much that we can continue to explore. I'm trying to see if the audiences can take some summaries out of our entire conversation over and above what they've heard, and they may rehear a couple of times. Um, when is the right time to begin either a religious journey or a meditative journey, and what is a trigger that in today's time people should be looking at?
I think one should be more mindful and rational and try to understand what happens to their whole state of mind, and the seeking should continue. You have to seek answers. You should never be ignorant to a situation in life, a thought that comes to you from deep within. You should seek answers. And the moment you start seeking, there is no age to begin. The
So you can
moment
start
you,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
the moment you start seeking, you have to
The
put in
journey
an,
has begun.
the journey has begun. And honestly, nobody else can walk the path for you.
You have to walk it yourself.
If you have to work out your own body to get fitter. And same stands for your spiritual self as well.
Then is there a mantra that if you were to recommend a mantra for any of the youngsters wanting to start this journey and discipline, where do they begin? If you were to give a mantra, what would that mantra be?
See, for me, anything that resonates with your own self is uh, your mantra. A mantra is a very individualistic thing for your own personal growth. But when you hear the sound of universe, and when we discussed that Ram ka naam hi sacha naam hai. So, you just say Ram Ram rather than saying good morning. A Ram naam, I think, will be the beginning of the mantra journey for you.
Mantra journey for anyone. Oh, wonderful. I think, Bakulji, I'm feeling so uh, relieved having some of these conversations. I relate to some of them very, very closely. Some aspects of it have opened my thought process as well. I want people to be able to come back to us with more questions, any areas in which their development and journey. I am looking forward to learning from them as well, because everyone's journey is a contribution to my journey as well. So I'm very thankful to you. I believe that this is going to be a start of a beautiful journey where you and I can have many more conversations. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show on conversations that are going to be more revolving around a Vedic life. We would like to talk more about a Vedic city. That's a vision that you have in your mind. And thank you for being here today. Really honored to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaalin.
Thank you.